Right now at 5:30, we're tracking the latest on a tragic event out of South Carolina. We've learned overnight 9 people have died in Charleston after someone opened fire at a church.
The latest details just ahead on WKYT this morning. 2 men accused in a bizarre hit-and-run case here in Kentucky and Scott County are set to be in court later today.
And some folks in Montgomery County are saying protections need to be put in place after a deadly crash.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning from WKYT News. Welcome in. It's good to have you with us here on this Thursday. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. Hope you're having a nice start to your day. A little warm with, of course, more chance for rain.
And it looks like that lasts right into the weekend as we go sliding officially into summer here in a few days. Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Well, I know a lot of us haven't picked up rain, but I know a lot of us have picked up some rain. It's just been very spotty, but I'll tell you this, guys, as we get toward your Saturday time frame, everybody will see rain. And we're looking outside right now. No rain in the forecast this morning. We're sitting in the 70s this morning, too, at a very mild start and humid, too. We hit the afternoon. This graphic is basically just like the one the past 3 to 4 days. You get really warm temperatures, mid to upper 80s, and also holding on to those spotty showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon. Some will see them, some will not. But I promise you this, we get toward the weekend, most will see that rain, and it's really heavy rain as of right now. We'll show you that track of what's left over from Tropical Storm Bill in just a few minutes.
Okay, we'll see you in just a bit, Micah. Thank you. WKYT now tracking a breaking story out of South Carolina this morning. We have learned overnight that 9 people have died after someone opened fire at a historic church in Charleston.
Police say the shooter is still on the loose. WKYT's Victor Puentes at our live desk. Victor, I understand we've learned some new information about one of the victims.
That's right. A state legislator has confirmed that the church's pastor, who is a member of the state Senate, was one of the 9 people killed. Reverend Clementa Pinckney was a Democratic member of the state Senate who led the church. Police say the shooting happened at the Emmanuel AME Church in downtown Charleston Wednesday night. It's one of the oldest black churches in the nation. A Bible study class was interrupted by gunfire and 9 people were killed. The shooting was followed by a bomb threat. Police say that complicated their response, but the threat has since been called off. Charleston's police chief has said the FBI will help with the investigation, which he is calling a hate crime.
It is senseless, and it is unfathomable that somebody in today's society would walk into a church when people are having a prayer meeting and take their lives.
The police chief says there were some survivors, but they haven't said how many. Now, the suspect is described as a slender, clean-shaven, 21-year-old white male with sandy blonde hair. He's still on the run. The chief said officers thought they had the suspect tracked with a police dog when they first arrived, but he was able to get away. At the live desk, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Oh, we are learning more about a deadly crash in Montgomery County. Investigators say 1 person died, 2 others were injured yesterday afternoon in a crash north of Mount Sterling on Highway 11. Police tell us a truck crossed the center line and hit a car head-on. The driver of the car was pronounced dead at the scene. The sheriff says there was no way for the car to avoid the crash.
He was in his lane. The truck, for some reason, crossed over and struck him head-on. You know, I mean, how do you avoid that? You know, I mean, you get up in the morning, you want to go to town, you expect to come back home.
The name of the man who died has not been released, and there's still no word at this point on the conditions of the 2 people inside the truck.
A crash in Madison County killed a man who was riding a motorcycle. State police now say the victim has been identified as 40-year-old Charles Arvin of Richmond. Police say yesterday afternoon Arvin lost control of his motorcycle on Union City Road, crossed the center line and hit an SUV. Police say Arvin died at the scene. The driver of the SUV was not injured. 2 men involved in a bizarre hit-and-run case in Scott County are set to appear in court later today. Investigators say Daniel Blackburn was driving down US 25 when his passenger, Theophilus Price Jr., leaned out to hit a pedestrian, but instead head-butted the man. WKYT's Hillary Thornton is in Scott County this morning with the latest on that. Good morning, Hillary.
Good morning. The man accused of headbutting that pedestrian from the moving vehicle is now out of the hospital and in jail. And new this morning, we have just learned this makes his second time behind bars this month. The Scott County Detention Center says Theophilus Price Jr. was booked back on June 8th on a bench warrant and was released 2 days later. Then about 1 week after that, the Scott County Sheriff says he was riding with Daniel Blackburn down US 25 when Price saw 3 men walking along the shoulder and said he wanted to smack one of them. Investigators say that is when Blackburn drove closer to the men while Price leaned out the window. However, they say the SUV got too close and Price's head smacked into the back of one of the pedestrians' heads. Deputies say Blackburn then dropped Price off at Sonic so he could walk to the hospital. Blackburn was pulled over on the bypass a short time later after calls about a reckless driver. Now, deputies say there was a lot of blood in that passenger seat, and Blackburn admitted to drinking 4 tall boy beers. He then blew a .233 on a breathalyzer test. He was charged with DUI and wanton endangerment. Meanwhile, the pedestrian was rushed to UK hospital but is expected to be okay. Now out of the hospital himself, Price is now facing a complicity to wanton endangerment charge. Both Price and Blackburn will be arraigned at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Live in Scott County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Well, police are looking for the man responsible for a hit and run that injured a sheriff's deputy's wife in Laurel County. It happened yesterday afternoon on Highway 80 near Interstate 75 in London. Police say the man rear-ended the woman's car, then backed up and drove off. She was taken to a nearby hospital to be treated. London police say this crash hits close to home since the victim is married to a sheriff's deputy.
Well, even though we're different agencies, we're all brothers. It's a brotherhood. So it kind of hits home. It kind of gets everybody a fire lit under everybody.
Police say the suspect was driving a dark red or maroon Jeep Cherokee.
Now 5:36 here on WKYT this morning. Hundreds of eastern Kentuckians fighting to keep their disability payments say the process of compiling medical records is exhausting. Last month, the Social Security Administration suspended disability payments for about 900 people, all of them former clients of Floyd County lawyer Eric Kahn. Government officials suspect Kahn of using false information to secure those benefits. Just recently, those payments were restored. However, the SSA is now asking for those people's medical records to figure out if they still deserve the payments.
You don't know. It's just like turning the page. You don't know. You're going to see a letter tomorrow saying your benefits cut off again next month. You just don't know. So you kind of live in fear, really.
There's a hearing tomorrow morning in Floyd County Circuit Court for the civil suit that has been filed against Kahn by hundreds of his former clients, and attorneys told us today that they are still pursuing a federal suit against the Social Security Administration. Irish officials are gathering to determine what to do next after that tragic balcony collapse out in California killed some Irish college students. 6 students died, 7 other people were injured. 5 of those killed were visiting from Ireland on a special visa. Yesterday, volunteers met with families of the victims at a makeshift crisis center in Berkeley. The Irish consulate says he has not slept since the accident.
Getting the children and their parents back to Ireland, and the saddest moment of all, which is bringing the bodies of those who unfortunately died in such tragic circumstances home as quickly as we can.
Officials say those in the surrounding community have been extremely supportive and helpful during this very difficult time. A Pike County judge has been suspended after being charged with misconduct. Pike Circuit Judge Stephen Combs' suspension is pending a final ruling by the Judicial Conduct Commission. Investigators say Combs referred to the Pikeville City Commissioner as, quote, a cokehead, the mayor as, quote, fish face, and the city manager as, quote, Dumbo. They also say he threatened police. One of Combs' attorneys says the judge is disappointed by the suspension.
Well, some police departments are testing new technology that helps them find scenes a little bit easier when shots are fired. Sophisticated microphones direct police to exactly where they come from. The technology, called Shot Spotter, is also being used in schools. Chris Van Cleef takes us into the first high school in the country to test the technology.
Shots fired inside a California high school. The last step in verifying newly installed gunshot detecting microphones designed to quickly identify and locate an active shooter on campus. accurate to within 10 feet. Newark Memorial High School principal Phil Morales is a former police officer.
Why do you feel like you need it?
You know, why do we need a fire alarm, right? I mean, it's there. If there's a fire that happens and the alarm goes off, we know how to react.
The FBI says there have been 27 school shootings in the U.S. between 2000 and 2013, resulting in 57 deaths and 60 injuries.
Most of the people do forget that they're there.
Guadalupe Leyva will be a senior at Newark Memorial.
Personally, I have thought of it, like school shootings that have happened.
Do you have a sense they could happen anywhere?
Yeah, you never know.
The sensors are inside hallways and offices in more than 20 buildings and outside, monitoring the sprawling 43-acre campus for gunfire.
It won't stop a school shooting, but it'll get us to the shooter quicker. It'll get us medical aid to those people that are injured in a shooting much, much faster.
Privacy advocates have some concerns.
We want our children to be safe. We also want them to be brought up as Americans who don't feel that they're being monitored every moment of their time.
Some cash-starved schools say the estimated $15,000 installation costs and annual monitoring fees are just too high. ShotSpotter says their goal is to keep the cost to that of a fraction of fire monitoring. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, San Francisco.
Well, 2 of the finalists for Fayette County's next superintendent have interviews scheduled for next week. School leaders say each candidate will spend a day and a half in Lexington. The first will tour schools on Tuesday and meet with school employees and members of the community on Wednesday. The second will tour schools Thursday and have meetings Friday. The school district has not released the name of any finalists because a search firm is still doing background checks. A $10 bill in your wallet will be getting a new facelift in the next 5 years. Alexander Hamilton has been on the bill since 1929, but in 2020, he'll step aside for a woman. This will be the first woman on the nation's paper money in more than a century. The plan is to decide which woman will grace the bill sometime this summer. If you want to share your ideas, you can tweet at the Treasury Department using the hashtag #TheNew10. Originally, there was a push for the $20 bill to be replacing Andrew Jackson, but I guess they've chosen
Sounds like it's going to be the 10.
A different bill. Okay.
Well, we'll see what happens and see who's chosen. It'll be interesting. Our time this morning is 5:41, and let's check live drive traffic and see what's going on out there early this morning. And here's a look right now at our Waze app this morning.
We're taking a look at the app. Nothing really going on out there right now, which is good news for all you early morning commuters.
Yeah, you should have a clear commute into the city this morning, at least so far. Watch out for those ongoing closures downtown around Center Point, of course, and near campus with the closing of that section of Alumni Drive from Tates Creek over to Nicholasville Road. And we'll keep you informed if anything comes about this morning. Still a lot more news coming up Thursday on WKYT.
Imagine getting to meet your favorite singer, and not only that, but get to sing a duet. That's what happened to this lucky teen in Canada. We'll have more on who this celebrity is up next.
And we're looking across the way. Nice clean sweep this morning, but more storms as we head toward the afternoon. Hit and miss is the way it's going to go today and tomorrow, but Saturday, hefty rainfall totals. I'll show you those numbers coming up.